Jannik Sinner wins Miami. He's looking unstoppable right now, but we're approaching the clay. Can he do it?
Well, that's the question we're going to be answering on this podcast. We've got Djokovic, the reigning French Open champion. He's been warming up on the clay. And Carlos Alcaraz, he did pretty well last year, and he'll be looking to stop Jannik Sinner getting number one.
Yeah, on the women's, we'll speak about Danielle Collins and her incredible success in her last season. And of course, Grigor Dimitrov. Is he the best active player right now to not win a Grand Slam?
So grab yourself a cold drink or a hot drink and buckle up, because this is the countdown.
Novak Djokovic has won the Australian Open. 35 matches unbeaten. He's done it! Carlos Alcaraz! Djokovic has won Wimbledon. He wins his 14th Roland Garros title.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Another episode of the countdown, and we're sort of back to normal again because it goes a bit funny during the Sunshine Double because the events are so much longer. But we've had some incredible tennis. It's been one of the best Miamis I could have ever hoped for, or even in recent memory. It eclipsed last year, and I think the way Jannik Sinner's been playing, he's unstoppable, isn't he, JG? I mean, this run of form that he's had from the beginning of 2024 up until now, can he continue it onto the clay courts? This is one of the most interesting starts to a tennis season I think we've seen in a very, very long time.
Yep, totally agree, Ben. Sorry I've not been present the last week. I've been away, and it's not been the best holiday because it's been raining in Spain and I didn't have the best of times. But it was still nice to not be working, and I actually did still get to see quite a bit of tennis because I was indoors a lot of the time, in a few bars and tapas restaurants, and you'll be surprised how much tennis they show out in Spain. Of course, you've got Carlos Alcaraz, the Spanish sensation, who's doing so well. But they seem to really like their tennis. And the difference I've noticed in Spain to England is when the tennis is on in a public setting, there's actually people watching. And they seem to be a bit more engaged and interested than people in the UK. Just something to keep in mind. And I'm sure some of the listeners will be interested by that thought. On to Jannik Sinner. I think you've given a good intro. It's the best place to start. He does look unstoppable, and I would agree with what you said about the level of tennis we've seen. I think it is probably some of the best tennis I've seen at the Sunshine Double since we've been doing the podcast. I thought Sinner's performance against Grigor Dimitrov in the last one in the final was fantastic. It was his best performance. He saved the best till last, and Grigor played a great match as well, but just couldn't find any answers. We've seen Alcaraz. I thought he's played extremely well. Was very unlucky in the fact that he come against one of the best informed Grigor Dimitrov. He wasn't that far off that level against Sinner, but Sinner just seems to me like he is the best player in the world. And I think when he plays like he did in Miami, and them conditions, let's be honest, are 100% suited to him. A bit like how Indian Wells is suited to Alcaraz, I think Miami is perfect for Sinner, and it shows with the fact that he's got to two finals in the past when he wasn't as good. It was the skinny Jannik Sinner, the Frau version, a bit weaker, and he was still getting to finals. But this level from him in Miami, I honestly believe if he can keep up sort of 60-70% of this, nobody will ever beat him at Miami. I can honestly see him dominating there. It's his best surface. Everything just works so well for him, and I thought the performance against Dimitrov and even in the semi-final as well against Daniil Medvedev was breathtaking at times.
Yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. I totally agree with you about Jannik Sinner. I know that coming into the tournament, I thought Alcaraz was going to potentially win the Sunshine Double. You said, come on, Sinner's so good in Miami. He's made two finals before. He was the finalist last year. And I think that this is one of the most interesting things about that whole year span. From last year's final, he lost in straight sets to Daniil Medvedev. Bear in mind, since losing that final to Daniil Medvedev, He's changed completely as a player. Like, he went on
Just transformed, isn't he?
yeah, a journey of like self-discovery, I think you could call it, for Jannik Sinner, over since the last Miami final all the way round, full circle until this Miami final, because he faced Daniil Medvedev in the semi-final, and by this stage, I think last year he hadn't ever beaten Daniil Medvedev at this time. If he comes back round this time, he's now beaten him 5 times in a row. I mean, it's a completely different beast, Jannik Sinner, right now, and he's made subtle changes, small changes on the court, but what's going on upstairs is probably the biggest change, and his mentality on a tennis court right now is scary, because it's up there with the likes of your Djokovic's now, I think, with mentality. And I know that people are going to go, whoa, it's a bit too early to say. Watch the way he plays. Look how calm and collected he was in a Masters final. He's only ever won one Masters before. This final, he made it look easy against a Dimitrov in amazing form. This wasn't just like a B part Dimitrov. This was a really, really good Dimitrov who destroyed Carlos Alcaraz in straight sets.
I understand what you're saying about mentality, but I don't agree that that's the biggest thing what's changed for him. The reason being is I've always said Jannik Sinner's got a great mentality and he looks very mature for his age. And even when there's times of trouble, facing break points or he's losing heavily, he always looks quite calm and composed. You never see him doing a Rublev. You never see him doing a Medvedev and throwing his toys out of his pram. He's always very composed and looks in control of what he's going to be doing. And this is when he was skinny and not so good a few years ago. Obviously, it's nothing to do with him being skinny, but I just refer to him as the skinny Jannik Sinner. He's still pretty skinny now. I think the most impressive thing is not really the mentality, because I think he's always had a fantastic mentality. It's probably got a little bit better, but the biggest thing what's improved is just his technical ability. I think defensively, there's not really a player better than him. I would say his ability to hit that backhand down the line, moving onto it, is just something I've not seen before. I saw it on the commentary, and my dad was saying it when we was watching it, is there's times where he's pulled out one on the backhand side, and most players in them situations will always go for the slice, cross court or down the line, or just try to neutralise the rally, keep it deep, give yourself some time to get back to the middle. What he does is he attacks them balls. I've seen him go sliding in on a hard court and hitting a flat backhand down the line when it's not really a shot, which is possible. And you don't see many players even try and attempt it. He does it with a success rate of about 80-90%. He doesn't miss them either. He hits the lines. And I think that's the most impressive. The fact that either wing, if you put him in any kind of jeopardy and force an angle, it's the most dangerous thing you can do with Jannik Sinner. You create an angle with him, an Italian on the run, he's dangerous, backhand, forehand, and he's got every single weapon you could imagine. And I think that is the most impressive part of me. I think his mentality's always been there. I think what he's shown is the ability to save break points, which is fantastic and so vital for a young player who's got this athletic ability. And when you couple this whole thing as a package, you're looking at the perfect player. It's a bit like build a bear. Build a Jannik Sinner. It is the perfect Jannik Sinner, the perfect tennis player. And I've spoke about Medvedev before as maybe a perfect tennis player, being so lanky in the way he moves. But Sinner, for me, eclipses that level.
His movement is one of the things I've spoken about in some of the videos that have just been put out. I think that's the one thing that I've been keeping an eye on. He just moves so much better on the court these days. He gets to everything half a second before he used to. I feel that he's getting to the ball, he's able to have longer to take his shots, and that in turn, because he's such a deadly finisher of a tennis ball, if you give him an extra half a second to hit any tennis ball, he's more than likely going to take over the rally, and that's what he's been doing. I thought it's very a good observation from I think it's Prakash, the guy who does that. He's a really good guy who does like the interviews.
The tennis
afterwards.
channel, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think he's such a great character, but he hit the nail on the head as well with Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. He said with Jannik Sinner, you can just see this is a well-drilled, a well-oiled machine which has been built up over the course of many, many years. And you can see that every little thing that he has been learning, he's putting into practice each time. Whereas Carlos Alcaraz, this is like a raw agility which he just has on a tennis court. And there is obviously a lot of the drills, but a lot of the stuff that Alcaraz is able to produce is from just his athleticism on a tennis court. He is literally a crazy athlete, and that's what makes Alcaraz so exciting, is because you never know what's coming. He's almost like an acrobat or something on a tennis court, but with the ability to hit powerful winners and have that sort of Spanish like roar as well. He has a lot of... They're two very different players, but very great observation from Prakash, I think.
Yeah, and my way I would look at it is exactly what he said. But if you compare it to football, I would say a Carlos Alcaraz is a bit of a Brazilian style player.
Flair.
It's raw, natural flair, talent. Whereas a Jannik Sinner is like a Michael Ballack. Like someone who's a bit more...
It's always German.
A Thomas Muller.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something like very
Regimented.
consistent and it just works. You know what I mean? Like he's just been built perfectly.
Yeah, I
It's
totally
effective.
agree. It's the well-oiled German engineering, don't they? It's like a BMW or an Audi, as opposed to one of these other ones, which is all fancy but might fall apart.
I mean, even a bit of a Harry Kane.
Ooh,
Jannik Sinner's a bit of a Harry Kane.
Yeah, quite possibly. Well, we're going to find out, because he's been doing so well on the hard courts and he's had such a good start to the year. I mean, only one defeat, and that came to Alcaraz at Indian Wells. We are now only 56 days away from Roland Garros, and we're on to the clay court swing. And the clay courts, he didn't do that great last year, Jannik Sinner. So he has everything to gain from a points perspective, but there's a lot of questions to be answered from a professional standpoint on the tour, because Alcaraz was sort of the man to beat leading up to Roland Garros, and Djokovic was the man who sort of took it from him and broke him in that semi-final. Now there's an added dimension. We've got Jannik Sinner thrown in the pot in the best form out of anybody on the tour, and we know he can still mix it on a clay court because he's run Rafa pretty well at Roland Garros before. So I think being a Grand Slam champion, it ups your level on all surfaces already. So he's going to be having more confidence, I think, coming into this year's clay court swing.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's the question we're going to be answering now. It's the title of the video, and that is, can Jannik Sinner do it on the clay courts? Let us know in the comment section below. We'll read out your comments. Always interested to hear what you guys have to say. My thoughts are very similar to Vanch's, and that's why I'm happy that we've shared this one. And that is that he's going to be great on clay. The unpolished skinny version made a Monte Carlo semi-final, Rome quarter-final. He beat Alcaraz in Newmag, and I believe he won the title in Newmag as well. That's his only clay title in 2022. And he gave Nadal problems for 2 sets in Roland Garros quarter-final. World number 1 looks likely if he keeps up this nearly unplayable level. And it's certainly very likely because he's not really defending points on a clay court at all. So everything from here is a bonus. I think he's maybe got... We're going to go through it in a second. Was there like a quarter-final in there? Semi-final? But he can... The way he is at the moment, you'd expect him to beat a lot of the other players. And I am generally expecting him to be world number 1 by Roland Garros, which is a big claim. Or if not, he will 100% become world number 1 after Roland Garros. I think the big call would be to get it before Roland Garros, and that's the call I'm going for. But I'm almost certain he'll be world number 1 come the end of Roland Garros.
Yeah, I think that has to be the target. I mean, the people who are going to be trying to stop him will be Alcaraz and Djokovic. I don't think we can even throw another name into the hat that could possibly get there. So you can see here on the screen, for people who are just listening, it is a semi-final that he reached last year in Monte Carlo, where he lost to Holger Rune, but he did have some good wins there. He beat Musetti.
What do you think about his game now, though, Ben? Quickly, do you think he's going to be really good on the clay? Like, Or
Yeah.
would you say he's not going to be as good as what he is on the hard court?
I think he's going to be.
We're not going to
just
see
as-
Miami level Sinner on a clay court.
No, because there won't be as many winners, I don't think, being able to be hit. But I still feel like
And his serve gets neutralised, remember. He's a good server, and
Very
he serves out of trouble on break points. You can't necessarily do that on a clay court, but I must admit, I've seen Djokovic do it quite a bit on clay court. So I think it's, of course, it's not as easy to hit aces on a clay court, but it might be a bit of a myth at times, because I've seen Djokovic very effective with the serve on clay. So Sinner, I think, will be fine in that. I'm just interested to hear what you think. Do you think he's going to be... How much of a force? Is he going to be the same level, a little bit less? Is he going to be like a top 5 player? Is he going to be the best player still on the clay court? Where's his power ranking of a clay?
I think his ranking on the clay, he's going to be is still top 3, and that's my personal opinion. I'm not including Rafa in this just because I'm not sure when he's going to be playing, but Djokovic, Alcaraz, and Sinner are going to be the best 3 clay court players in my opinion. That is,
I think that's obvious though, right?
yeah. But I feel that
In terms of like, do you think he's going to be? Because at the moment, no one can dispute that he's the best player in the world on the hard courts.
exactly.
Is he the best player in the world on the clay? Or does
Yes.
Alcaraz pip him? Does Djokovic pip him?
I think
It's a hard one
Alcaraz-
to answer because we don't really know, do we?
We don't know yet. It's all speculation, but based upon last year and on the clay courts, I mean, Alcaraz didn't play Monte Carlo, something I didn't mention in my video earlier. So he has the opportunity to gain all the points from Monte Carlo. It's obviously a Masters. Sinner's going to be dropping a few, but he only made semi-finals, so not too bad for him there. And Djokovic, he obviously didn't do too well. He lost to Musetti, if you remember, in a very bad match. It was one of the worst quality matches, but Musetti eventually beat him in 3 sets. So Djokovic not really defending any points, really, had 1 round, and Sinner defending up until semi-finals. I think Alcaraz is going to try and come out and try and do really well at this Monte Carlo. I think that this is going to... I think we could see a potential Sinner... I don't know why. I think we could see a Sinner Alcaraz. It's just going to be interesting to see how the draw goes, though, because it's those 3 again. Now we're wondering, where is Alcaraz going to be? Because don't forget, Jannik Sinner is the new world number 2. So he will be taking one side of the draw. Djokovic will be up the other end. Where will Alcaraz go? And that's going to be the big question come the Monte Carlo draw.
Yeah, because if Alcaraz is on the side of Djokovic, then Sinner's going to be rubbing his hands together, isn't he?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Holger Rune could be somebody to watch out for because he was the one who actually defeated Jannik Sinner last year, but he's a bit off the boil, I'd say, at the moment.
Not having a great season, no.
No, I've not been that impressed with Holger Rune. Hasn't pushed on, hasn't produced what I was expecting him to do this year. Yeah, he's still a step behind Sinner and Alcaraz, really. Well, quite a way behind, I'd say. Needs to get a good coach, needs to be a little bit more grounded in everything he's doing, and then I think it will start to click a little bit more. But yeah, at the moment, it's a little bit up in the air, isn't it, everything? But yeah, Alcaraz, I'd say he's the one that people are going to be looking towards from last year. Obviously, he won Barcelona, he won Madrid, and going into, well, in Rome, he had the freak result against Malazan, remember?
Yeah.
So Rome...
Did Sinner play Madrid?
Sinner did not, and neither did Djokovic last year. So there is an opportunity. If Alcaraz doesn't have a very good Monte Carlo and Sinner has a good Madrid, then there could be a potential there. I mean, obviously Djokovic is involved in this as well, but Djokovic is aiming for the slams, and we know that for a fact.
No, I'll tell you another thing. Djokovic is aiming for a title.
Monte Carlo, I reckon.
You never get to April without a Djokovic title. I think he's going to be quite hungry, and I've seen him practicing on the clay courts. Part of me feels he's going to come fighting back on this clay court swing, and he's going to be desperate to get a title under his belt before Roland Garros.
Well, look at...
Which one's it going to be? I'm not sure. Monte Carlo, I don't think that's a very wise pick. He's not great there. I feel like if it's going to come, it'll come from Madrid or Rome.
Yeah, the only reason I say Monte Carlo is because he's checking boxes right now, Novak Djokovic, and this could have been a reason that he went.
But he's not good at Monte Carlo. He keeps losing like randomly there.
Yeah, but you have to realise what's on the line for him if he wins Monte Carlo. He will win a triple Golden Masters, which is won all of the Masters 3 times. That's the only one left to mean he's won them all 3 times, which is a crazy thing to have. And he'll be the only person. It's probably something that I don't know if it'll ever be completed by anybody else again. So
I don't think it will.
That's the last, and is this the last opportunity for him to do it? I mean, every year it's going to get more difficult. So I think he has a chance. I think that's why he's started practicing early on the clay, because he thought, God, the last couple of Monte Carlos, I keep losing to like Dan Evans and Fokina and Musset. There's always somebody he's losing to who's just not at his level, but he just seems to be not prepared, and it's just a warm-up tournament for him. It's a Masters. Come on, just grab that last one, Djokovic, and then you won't need to win a Masters again after that. Just focus on the slams.
Fair enough.
And the Olympics. Don't forget the Olympics. I'm not asking for much. But yeah, what do you reckon, based upon Alcaraz's, obviously his form last year, he was the man to beat coming into Roland Garros. As you can see here, he was pretty incredible. It was just that little blip against Malazan in Rome, and then obviously the Djokovic match at Roland Garros, the semi-final. I don't think we'll see that version of Alcaraz again. That just, I don't know, tightened up, cramped up, mentally broke in that match against Djokovic. I think that was just something he had to go through at the time just to be able to be the player he is now. So Djokovic is going to find it really tough, I think, over the course of this clay court swing to win a tournament. That's my personal opinion.
With regards to Roland Garros, while you were speaking, I just brought up the odds. And you can see, for Roland Garros, you've got Carlos Alcaraz favourite, 2.5. You've got Djokovic second favourite, 3.25. And Sinner, third favourite, 4.5. Good value for Jannik Sinner the way he's playing. And you can get Rafael Nadal at 5.5 to win the French Open.
When's he coming back? I mean,
Full favourite he is.
It's mad, isn't it, that we don't even know when he's going to play, but he's still fourth favourite. If he turns up, he's in with a chance. We know that
Definitely
for a fact. It's pretty crazy though. But yeah, looking at the latest top 10, obviously we've just got a new top 10 in. This is how it looks now. You see that Dimitrov has inserted himself into the picture there in that top 10. Got to have a brief word about Grigor and what he's been doing over the past few tournaments, not just this one.
Well, it's not going to be brief, Ben, because the next part of the main topic of this podcast is going to be who is the greatest player, the greatest active player to not win a Grand Slam. We'll have a look at both because I've got a good website which shows everything. And the reason we're discussing this, obviously, Grigor Dimitrov has never won a Grand Slam. Is he the greatest active player right now to not win one? I think it's a really good argument, and I'm interested to hear who you have to say. So if you bring it up now, we'll go through it.
Sure, no problem.
Because there's plenty of names on there. So if you start with non-active, we'll just have a look at some of the non-active players, because people are going to love that. The obvious one is someone we've interviewed, David Ferrer. You could make a case for, I don't know why it's very... Oh, sorry, you've got non-active and active in this one.
yeah, both.
Thomas Berdych, I'd say, is another one.
Yeah,
Davydenko.
definitely.
They're my three. Marcelo Rios, you could make a case for. Tsonga.
Nalbandian, what an amazing player as well.
He got to a few finals, didn't he?
This is the problem. Like, we got Kai Nishikori and
these are fantastic players. So, mate, it does go to show, like, what Sinner's done is better than every single one of these players, and that's win a Grand Slam.
Are these tennis balls next to them? What do they mean? Do they mean they made it to a slam final, I'm guessing?
I think it means they're active.
Oh, is it? No. Oh, yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. Well, they did make it to slam finals as well. That's what I was
They all made it
looking
slam
at.
finals.
Yeah,
But yeah,
what I mean.
so put the active on there.
Yeah. That's
And then you'll see all the
confusing me
gold
for a
stars.
second.
They moved the gold stars on this one. So
Yeah.
currently, on terms of GOAT points, Sasha Zverev is the best player who's not won a Grand Slam. Tsitsipas second, Kai Nishikori third, Raonic fourth, Rublev 5th, Isner 6th, Monfils 7th, tied with Dimitrov, Ruud 9th, and Sinner, he's still away, he's on there. Maybe it's not been updated. Was 10th, but he has won one now. So ignore him. So let's just look at the top 9, because I don't think the others... I mean, you can make a case for Feliciano Lopez, Verdasco, Kyrgios, but personally, go up to the top, because it's none of them players. Who is it for you? The greatest player, active player to not win a Grand Slam?
I mean, it's tough, isn't it, to say. My instant thought would always be like Sasha Zverev, but it's just, I think it's too obvious a one because of just how many titles that he has won. He's so good in Masters events.
I think it's the performances he's got like in him. The level we can see from a Zverev is pretty mental. He should have won a Grand Slam or two by now. I think he's definitely got the ability. I think he is going to win a Grand Slam eventually. I don't know when it's going to come. It might have to wait for Sinner or Alcaraz to be injured.
Who do you reckon on that list?
Listen, my top 2 is Zverev Dimitrov. I don't know if that's crazy of me, but he's actually up there. In terms of star power and wow factor, what he did to Alcaraz is a level I'm not sure some of them other names on that list can produce. I think Tsitsipas was able to produce that a few years ago. We're not seeing anything close to that at the moment. Nishikori, I don't think he has that. Nishikori is brilliant too. But I think Dimitrov, at his very best, the best level of him, when he's playing the best tennis ever, he, for me, is my favourite, and I think the best player that's never won a Grand Slam. I think he can even beat Sasha Zverev when Dimitrov is playing his ultimate best. And that's why it's quite a fitting thing, because
he did.
The way he played against Alcaraz was ridiculous, how he beat him.
Zverev.
Alcaraz did nothing wrong, and he beat Zverev as well. And it just proves what I'm saying. Grigor Dimitrov is the best player, best active player to not win a Grand Slam.
Yeah, it's just sad that we haven't got to see him in a Grand Slam final yet. He has made 3 semi-finals. The only one he hasn't made a semi-final at is Roland Garros. It is his worst slam. He's only ever made 4th round at best. But Australian Open, he's made 3 quarterfinals.
He's going to get to the quarterfinals this year.
It would be amazing. I mean, he is good on the clay as well. I wouldn't say.
I think he's going to get quarterfinals.
I just love his mentality right now, that he has a fearlessness that he plays with against the big players, and you have to have that, because if you don't, you'll lose easily. And you saw, even when he did have it, he still lost easily against Sinner. That just a credit to Jannik Sinner of how much he's come on and how he's now just one of those players on tour. Like, it doesn't even matter if you play well, he can still beat you. Scary stuff. But Zverev, yeah, I mean, he's made so many semi-finals. I mean, what is it? 6 semi-finals, 1 final, 4 quarterfinals.
So for your answer, Ben, what is it? Zverev number 1?
It's got to be Zverev. I mean,
no, I'm going to go Dimitrov then. I'll take him as my number 1. Just about Pippin, Zverev.
Yeah, I mean,
not Casper Ruud or Monfils?
Nah, no. I mean, Zverev has an Olympic gold medal as well. No, we don't speak about that much. I know that's something Djokovic would quite like. But yeah, maybe he'll get another one this year. There's the Olympics coming up. Zverev will be looking to double his gold. But yeah, that's it for that one. Let's speak about the women's, because obviously it got a little bit eclipsed because we've had this crazy story with Jannik Sinner. Danielle Collins, she's announced that she will be retiring this year. It's not been a secret. She's been asked about it in press conferences, and she's happy to talk about it. But she said this is a personal decision that she's making for herself. I feel that she's just had enough. It's tiring to be able to be training all the time and just having that lifestyle, she said, and she's deserved it. I mean, you can't say that she hasn't done a lot in the game. She's been to a slam final. She's won this Masters title. I don't know where this sort of came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect her to be winning this tournament, and she didn't exactly have like the easiest run. I mean, she had to get through Pera, Potapova, Avanesian, Castella, Garcia, Alexandrova, who had just beaten the likes of Pegula and Iga, and then she well, she didn't drop a set since, I believe it was Pera, the first match. After that, all straight sets. Just amazing level.
We've seen this level from her before when she got to the final of the Australian Open. There's a great player in there. I think she's been troubled with some injuries and other problems. Sad that she's going to be retiring. On her day, she is a bit of a Grigor Dimitrov, maybe. Like someone who is very, very good. And Rybakina played a great match. Just wasn't enough. They both was hitting so well. And Danielle Collins in this kind of form is so good. I don't know what she's like on clay courts. I don't think she's particularly great. Just hit the clay. Let's see how she's got on her last clay.
Yeah, I mean, let me just
there.
Go.
Just hit the clay.
Oh, apologies. There you go. Oh, I don't think she would have liked us clicking that button.
This is what I'm thinking. I don't think she's particularly great on the clay, and you can see here, rarely wins. Her last win was at Roland Garros in 2022 to Tomova. So it doesn't really scream, I'm good on clay.
No, I mean...
Hardly plays on it. I don't think she'll be doing too much. And her season may be over until we hit the US Open.
Yeah, let's bring the green back again. I think she'll prefer us to be showing some of these ones. But yeah, fair play to her. I think what she did is a credit to just her being like professionalism, really. The fact that it may have freed her up, really. Just the knowledge that she is retiring. She's playing in America. All of the crowd were getting behind her. It's like one last big like tournament that she can really like get her teeth stuck into. And yeah, she has the game. She won it. Fair play to her. I think a very deserving champion, and she can retire happy now, saying that she won the Miami Masters.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's get into some latest news anyway, shall we?
Right, latest news time. I think we've spoke about a lot of news, but there's plenty more. So let's go through them. The first story is embracing traditions, opening practice at Rolex MC Masters with Rune and Djokovic.
Yep, in Monte Carlo, as every year, doing the same pose that they do every year with the stretch on the net, where obviously Djokovic famous for doing this crazy stretch where his leg is pretty much up ridiculously high on the post, and Rune joined him for it before, and then Djokovic has just been coaching him through it ever since, how to get that flexibility. And yeah, it's a nice photo. I'm glad that they're doing it. Hopefully we get to see another one next year as well.
So
Good
wait,
tradition.
is this every year from 22?
Yeah, they just do it every year. That's the same pose. He puts his hand out like this. It is quite funny though that they just keep on doing it. I do like it though. But yeah, quite funny. It's nice to see Holger Rune with a smile on his face for a change though, isn't it?
Well, his results haven't been helping him.
No, definitely haven't. Right, so
this is strange, I thought. Vance tweeting, Carlos Alcaraz has announced that he and Iga are playing mixed doubles at Wimbledon this year. Very intrigued by this mixed doubles partnership. It's a bit bizarre when you'd think Alcaraz would just be going full steam ahead with the singles, considering he won it last year. I hope it doesn't jeopardise his performances and his chances. Iga will be pleased having the Wimbledon champion helping you out. You don't see Djokovic playing mixed doubles, do you, at Wimbledon?
No. I was hoping he'd be with Raducanu. Alcaraz Raducanu. I mean, that would get everybody. If
you might see Jack Draper, Raducanu.
No, I mean, please, Emma, don't stretch yourself into the doubles as well.
She'll just withdraw, and then Jack won't. He'll throw up and she'll withdraw.
Throws up on.
He'll probably be all right because it's quite cold. It'll probably just rain the whole time.
That's perfect for him.
Love that.
I feel like he's built for Wimbledon, Jack Draper.
No, he's built for 10 degrees, England clouds.
He's my type of guy. Definitely.
And Raducanu is built for about 4 games. Fast 4. No juice.
Maybe we'll get that. Maybe she'll be a good UTS player, Raducanu. Maybe her and Draper are better like UTS.
You're joking, but when they do the next female UTS, she's going to be the prize ticket, the one which Patrick's going to pay the most to go, and I have a funny feeling she's going to be on every poster and she's going to be playing in the next female UTS. But that's just my opinion. Let's wait and see. What's the next news you got?
Next one. This is a bit of Rafa news for you.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Raducanu announced herself as UTS.
Imagine. This one says
So the next one is Rafael Nadal. God, I'll let you read it.
All right, Rafa Nadal spent exactly 4 years of his life, 209 weeks, as the number one tennis player in the world. That's an extraordinary feat. As of today, Novak Djokovic doubled that, 118 weeks, 8 years and counting. 40% of his career, a record that will never be broken in our lifetimes. That's a bit nuts. I mean, 418 weeks. I mean, let someone else have a go.
Yeah, he's right. It will never be broken. People thought the Federer one was like a really good benchmark.
I remember.
I don't know really what else to say. It is an incredible one. Let's see how much he can extend it for. I feel Sinner's coming for that soon. But to reach that milestone's just insane. Like you say, 8 years of doing it. You've got to be at the top of your game for 20 years plus, and then it's still going to be tough to get anywhere close to that. I think anyone who can get over 200's like GOAT status of incredible.
This is a question for you, because I don't think that anyone's going to overtake him on the men's side. Do you think Iga could overtake that on the women's side?
Overtake this one or the actual
418.
record?
No, the
Who's got
actual
the
record.
Serena's one?
I think it's Steffi Graf that has it. Is that not right? Let me just have a look. I'm just going to bring it up just because I don't want to say something which is completely wrong. Total weeks at number one. There we go. Let me just bring it up. Hopefully this is accurate. Trust Wikipedia. So the
Iga's in
saying...
the top 10 already. Yeah, Steffi Graf's number one, 377. Navratilovan's second with 332. And Serena Williams, 319 weeks. And you've got Iga already at 90 weeks, which is pretty mad. I think she will have the women's record, in my opinion.
I mean, it looks like...
Will she beat Djokovic as well? I think it's still going to be tough, but it's more possible than any of the men, I feel. Because she is so young. That's the thing.
That's why I'm asking, because she's already at pretty much 100 already.
Yeah.
So it's not like... And someone's going to have to come through and like slow her down a bit. But yeah, the way she's playing... And this is the crazy thing with Iga as well, is she's not been doing that badly in the last few tournaments, and everyone's just like, oh, is Iga all right? We're entering the clay court swing now. Now we're going to see what really happens with Iga. Like, if she doesn't do well in the clay court swing, then there might be some cause for concern. But I'm sure come Roland Garros, she's going to be the favourite. We're going to see bagels. We're going to see breadsticks, and it's going to be Iga time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that one. Done and dusted. I think that's all we got for latest news on this episode. Didn't have many more. But that's fine. We can move on to the shootout, can we?
Let's go for it. Right, tennis shootout time where me and Ben ask each other a question and try our best to get it right.
That's it.
Is it going to be a multiple choice one today? Has to be Roland Garros themed, or have you gone off that now?
No, I've gone with Roland Garros.
You've gone back to that?
Yeah, I have. Just because we're now 56 days away, I thought, and we're actually onto the clay court swing now. I'm sure I'll run out again before we get there, so I might have a Monte Carlo question next week or some other type of question, but no worries. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first this week?
You can go first.
Okay. It makes me think that you're trying to find a question now, but that's fine. Right, I will go first. Okay, so... who was the last man from France to win a Grand Slam singles trophy? And you can have a bonus point. Which tournament did he win? In which year? And who did he beat in the final? That's for the bonus point. So we'll start off with your selections for who was the last man from France to win a Grand Slam singles trophy. So we got A, Yannick Noah, B, Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, C, Cedric Pioline, or D, Jean Borotra. Go.
Gene Barotera, final answer. And he won.
You just like the name Gene, I think.
Yeah, I did it. I'm doing it for Gene. He won the US Open. And he won it in 1972.
Alright, that's over. So that's wrong. It was Jannik Noah. I thought you'd remember that. From
Roland Garros, he won.
There you go, he did.
I know Jannik Noah won Roland Garros.
Yeah, that was in 1983. There you go. So that was the last time we had one. And if you wanted the bonus point, he beat Mats Wilander.
What did Gene win? Did he win anything?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
No, Gene, you let me down.
If Gene did, then it was before that date. I don't know. My history doesn't date back. It was before I was born. But yeah, unfortunately not correct, that one. But yeah, gave it a good stab in the dark just for Gene there.
Right, my question is very, very topical to what we've been discussing the past half an hour. And that is, of course, Jannik Sinner. With Roland Garros round the corner, he has had 4 losses to date at Roland Garros. My question to you is, who are the 4 losses to? Go.
Okay, 4 losses. Well, I know 2 of them straight off the back. So I remember last year's one. It was Daniel Altmaier he lost to. I know that he's lost to Rafael Nadal because we spoke about it literally just about 10 minutes ago. So it's just about picking the final 2 players that he has been defeated by. So this is where it gets trickier. I'm trying to think who he's lost to before. I'm going to go with...
You would have streamed every one.
Probably. I'll go with... Oh, right, okay. I'll go with a... Rune and Zverev.
Oh, he bottled it there.
Just as a guess.
Rune. When did Rune beat him at Roland Garros?
I don't know. I just threw.
You should have just played it safe. The first year he played, he lost to Nadal. The second year we laughed because he drew Nadal again. Lost to Nadal. The third year he lost to Rublev. And the fourth year,
Rublev.
Altmaier.
So I just pretty much just Nadal and Altmaier, really. Rublev just throwing it. Yeah, I wouldn't have got Rublev. Yeah. Oh, wow.
But the second Nadal, you definitely knew because we was laughing that he got him again.
Yeah,
It was like, it's so unlucky for Sinner. He got Rublev. He got Nadal again.
Yeah, my brain doesn't think back. It's not very good, unfortunately. The memory's gone. But yeah, that's a good one. I like it. I didn't win it. But let us know if you got it right in the comments section below. But that's it. So failure.
Another 0 from 2. Another foul for GTL. But let's move to the questions. Right, Q&A time. And I believe we've got a few questions to fire through.
That's right. I posted this on the old social media, and this is what we got. I didn't really get a question with the first one. It just says, if Alcaraz has full confidence, then it's his. So that's not more of a statement there from Santiago. The next one is Gary Lyons, and he said, when do you guys think Djokovic loses number 1 ranking? It seems like he has decent chance of holding it until the French Open. I think you're right,
We spoke
Gary.
about it. Ben agrees. I'm going to go bold and say Sinner's going to get world number 1 just before Roland Garros. But it will take a big ask. The sensible thing is, after Roland Garros, Sinner should be world number 1. There's a lot of points there.
Yeah, I think it's got to be because Djokovic's got his 2,000 points. I think it's the obvious one. I'm going to go with that one, Mr. Safe.
Yep.
Right,
Gentlemen.
Good one, this one. Go on.
Is anyone's name longer than Alejandro Davidovich Fokina? You got Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova is tied, depending on how you count the syllables. Thoughts on this? Well, we've got a guy who is longer, isn't it? That really long name.
Oh, what was that? That one he's tied, like a Thai player, isn't
Thai
he?
player. It's like
I can't remember what his name is. It's so many consonants in it that it's. God, I can't remember his name. I remember I've sent his name to you before in the past, and it was like a crazy, crazy long name. I don't know if you can remember it or remember what ranking he was. Can you?
So he's from Thailand. I've sent you the link of the name. We'll put it up on the screen now. And his name is Wishaya Trongcharakenche Kuchukul.
Oh, I like the pronunciation. There we go. I'll pop him up on the screen. Was it this one here?
He's 776 in the world.
Wow.
But yeah, that's one of the longest names I can remember. That's just off the top of my head, by the way. There may be someone else.
I think it's a really good one. There are a
Do you
couple
have
of
a
other
better one than that?
I've got a couple. There's a French guy who I thought was quite a long name, which was Giovanni Mpecci Pericard. That was the one. I think you're probably aware of him. Or another guy from Hong Kong, which was Chak Lam Coleman Wong, which I thought was quite a good one. Quite a nice name. Quite like that. I'd support him. You could probably think of some good chants for him if you're in the crowd.
Right, well, there we go. Enough of that section. Next question.
Next question, right. Okay, here we go. Does Djokovic need a coach at this point in his career? I doubt anyone can teach him anything he doesn't know. I suspect he will name either Marco Panici or Carlos Gomez Herrera his official new coach. Thoughts?
Well, Gomez Herrera is the guy who plays doubles with, isn't he, sometimes?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Do I think he needs one? Probably not. You might be right, actually.
Nah.
Do I think he'll get one? Yeah, he will. I don't know who it's going to be, though.
I think he just likes the camaraderie and the team and all that type of thing. I don't even think he can be taught many things. I think he needs someone to look to during moments of to gain strength from a box, and I think that's mainly what he gets from them. He gives his frustration off to somebody, and he can't do it if there's no one there in the box. He'll just be shouting at someone in the crowd probably, and that's not going to go down too well, is it? But yeah, I don't think he needs it, but he'll just have him there just as a person, just to bounce off in the crowd. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that sums up our latest episode of The Countdown. Thanks, everyone, for listening or watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and go check us out on Spotify and give us 5 stars. Anything left to say?
No, I'm just can't wait for the clay. The dirt. We're back on it. Your favourite surface, JG. Just reminds me of Awareness last year.
Well, we need to plan a GTO trip. If you want to help support us in any of that, please sign up for our Patreon, because we're looking low on funds. If we get enough funds, we will go on a GTO trip and we'll bring you some latest content. But yeah, the clay season's here.
Again.
Sinner, maybe I'll play him on the clay, and maybe he'll beat me very easily. But thanks everyone for watching, and see you very soon.
Bye bye.